Hello, this video is a recording of the presentation that was done for the breakout sessions at SNU's fall faculty workshop. This particular presentation was how to use ChatGPT and AI tools for faculty and how you can use it to be your professional virtual assistant. This tool and the tools that build upon the AI infrastructure can be used for many things. And it mainly can be used for you as a faculty member to supercharge your brainstorming about your courses. There are several ways that you can use ChatGPT as a faculty member to assist your work. And we're just going to scratch the surface in this very short video that we talked about in face-to-face session there on campus. But one of the things that you can do as a faculty member is you can scaffold content. Sometimes it's difficult to know how to distribute your content over a 15-week semester or a 6-week term, however many weeks a course might be. Sometimes it's a challenge to determine what do I cover at a particular day or a week of a particular course. So when you have the content available to you, the tool can help you scaffold what content should be covered at different stages within a course. Another benefit of the tool is it can help you build assessments, especially authentic assessments, things that that are not easily something that you can develop that would not be easily cheatable or students can't cheat on. And those are authentic assessments can be built, as well as case studies, which is another example of authentic assessment building. This tool can help you build some really interesting case studies that are unique to you, unique to your prompts, because it won't create the same case study again for somebody else. So if you one example of using this in the program that I lead in the Master of Science in Instructional Design and Technology, we use case studies in a particular course where every student gets a personalized case study. This ChatGPT makes my life a little easier now that I can use some prompts to help build specialized, individualized case studies. One of the things it can help you with is crafting communications. Sometimes it's helpful to use the tool to develop a script for a video or for a weekly announcement. You can use it as a basis to start that, and then you can edit it and use it in different ways. Creating test questions. A lot of times publisher content, publisher quiz questions are out in the public domain and easy for students to cheat. With ChatGPT building the test questions, you won't have to worry about it being out to the public. It would be totally contained within your prompts. So you can use it to build multiple choice questions, different types of questions that you may not have, that won't be available out on the web. And lastly, well, not lastly, but one of the other benefits is building rubrics. Building rubrics can be really frustrating and time-consuming. ChatGPT can give you a nice framework for a good rubric. And so we're going to go through a few examples in this presentation. And then after we go through how to use ChatGPT for a few of these items, we will talk about a few technologies that have AI built into them that could help you as well. So the first example of what we're going to do is a rubric creation. We're going to create a grading rubric, and I'm going to take this information here, and we're going to paste it into ChatGPT. Now, you can treat ChatGPT like a like you're having a conversation. And in this case, we're just going to ask it, can you create a rubric, a grading rubric? And it will tell us it can. It just needs some information. And it'll ask, provide a little bit more than you want here. As an example of what it can do for you. But then you can clarify after it's done generating what you want it to do. So let's clarify this. Let's say, will you create a grading rubric for students learning articulate storyline? And it will produce this with articulate storyline proficiency as the criteria. And this is great, except for it doesn't look like a rubric that we would typically use for grading. So now that it has generated the element, the criteria and the grading point scales, we will adjust it to add one more thing here. We want it to have storyline options, effective use of storyline, but then let's say we want it to be in a table. While it's typing here, we're going to put in a prompt. Can you create rubric in a table so it looks a little better and more usable for us? And you'll see it takes the information and it begins to build it into a table for you. And then you could specify other information about points and different things like that if you want to keep building upon this. Now let's do another example of a grading rubric. And let's do a grading rubric for a research paper. We want to provide some specifics about the criteria, the levels, and whether or not, and that it's a higher education research paper. And it's already moved ahead, even though I didn't put it in there, and put it in columns. Now, once you have a rubric that you like from the prompts that you've developed, you can edit it as much or as little as you need to fit the criteria you need. And so in the last time I ran this same prompt, I had to add, can you place each achievement level in a column? It already did it for us. So it's learning kind of what my prompts might look like and how to expect what I'm doing. So last time I did this same prompting, it did not give me the columns. This time it did without being prompted to do so. So that's an interesting thing. So it keeps learning and learning how you're going to prompt it over time. And let's do another example of a case study. So I had to do a case study, develop a case study, because my students weren't in a course I was teaching for another institution, were not understanding what contextualization meant in the context of missions work. And they were not getting it. And so in a discussion forum, I thought maybe the one way that I could help them see the application of contextualization in a real situation is develop a case study. Now, since it was a discussion forum and I was adding it as a new prompt in the discussion forum, I thought, well, why don't we see what ChatGPT can do for me in creating this? And so oops, let's come back here. And so what I did was I plugged this exact wording into ChatGPT, and I asked it to write a case study. And so here we have output, and I've ran this now 4 times, and it's come out with different information. Not different information when it comes to contextualization, but different information regarding a case. So let's look here. It gave me an introduction to the case. I've never seen it provide output for an Amazonian tribe in Bolivia. So this is interesting. And it gives the background of the people. And so what I did with this particular case, well, with a similar case study in my discussion forum, was students were not understanding what strategies of contextualization they could use in a particular scenario and what the challenges were. And so what I did was provide the introduction to the case, the background of the case, and ask them what contextualization strategies would they use to in this situation. And so I did not provide all of this information to the student. I just provided the introduction and the background, and then asked them questions about the case. So that's one way that you can use a case study and how it can build a case study for you. You can also add more information to give it some more specifics to build the case study off of. Now let's look at another option. So we talked at the beginning about scaffolding. So I'm going to ask it, I'm going to give you a course description. Can you scaffold the topics that should be covered in each week for a 6-week course? So let's ask it to do that for us. And it says it can do it. Well, now it's waiting for us to provide the course description. So I'm going to pull a course description that I found online about teaching online, about training online educators. And so let's just plug that in and see what it does. Now, the first time I ran it, it just gave me topics. Second time I ran this before, the same promptings, it provided even some example objectives for each week. And it's still thinking here. So here are the 6-week topics to be covered for each of the 6 weeks. And it's building a little bit more than just the topics. It's giving a little bit of context so that you can begin to develop some objectives for each of the weeks. They're not great, not perfect objectives, but they're not written well. So you'll have to rewrite them, or if you want to use learning objectives. But looks like it failed on me here, but you get the sense I must be hitting it at a time with high traffic. There we go. So if you ever run into that problem, you can regenerate and it'll do it again. I've never had it happen before, but it's just something to think about. There's a couple things. If you want to take this information with you, you have the option to clipboard it and put it somewhere where you can copy it and edit it. The other option is to share your chat. You can share the link to yourself or to someone else. The value of ChatGPT as a tool is that it's going to jumpstart your brainstorming and your thinking. It's not going to replace you as an expert in your field, as an expert teacher. So that's something to think about. You don't want to just take what's here and put it in your course. You don't want your students to do it, nor do you want to do it. But it's a great place to begin your brainstorming and supercharge it. in this particular session, we weren't just going to focus on ChatGPT, but I located this uh, infographic months ago. And in this infographic, it gives like a taxonomy of different types of tools from design to video, productivity, presentations, and research. And these are all examples of tools that have AI built into them to help the end user use AI in that tool. And some of these tools are really good. Some of them aren't so great. Some tools require a cost. Some are free. Some have limitations or trials. Pretty much everybody in the session had seen Grammarly had integrated AI into it, and there's Microsoft Office has now integrated AI. Google and all of its products are integrating AI. So every technology tool is trying to integrate AI in some way. So we're going to see this more and more. But right now, since it's so new, there's all kinds of new products that are coming out. And this particular list that I copied earlier this summer is outdated already. There's more and more tools. I mean, you can find all kinds of tools. So I just wanted to demonstrate a few tools so you can kind of see how AI works with these tools. One of them is 7taps. That is just a tool for creating presentations, topics, taking a topic and building out a 7-tap presentation that looks more like a social media presentation. But this product existed before AI was integrated. And now that AI is integrated, you can create a course. And instead of create new, you do AI builder. And when you do that, you can type in whatever the prompt might be. And in our session that we had, the breakout session, somebody said we could put in the history of rugby. And we built that in our breakout session. So when I click draft the course, it will begin to build out this presentation in 7taps. And it will take a few minutes as it's building it out. But once it's done, it will present the content as you see here, the history of rugby. And when you click through, it provides the historical information about rugby, some of the rules, how it became a professional sport, how it's expanded internationally, the modern era of the game, and a summary. It even provides a little optional comment area and a question. Do you find rugby interesting? And at the end, it's providing a video with a script that was auto-generated, and this is an AI-generated person and audio that will go with it. And that's very interesting. So all of this was AI generated, and you can edit it as much as you want, but that's how this particular tool works. Another tool that I have tried out is called Knowledge. And this tool, you can drop in a video, a document, free text or whatever into this tool. And then when you do that, so I dropped in a video on the difference between high context and low context culture for cross-cultural communications. And so when I dropped in the video, it took the information out of this video and it built out several things. And one of those things is an interactive video, which I think is really one of the coolest things about this particular product. And as you see the video straight from YouTube, but what it does is it scrubs that video. And when you play it, um, after the ad, when you play it, it will build into it um, knowledge checks. So in this video, you come to the button and it'll give you um, information about one of the key terms in this video. So you got key terms that show up at the right spots in the video. With explanation. And then at the end, it'll have a knowledge check. So this is an easy way to add some interactivity to a video that you don't even own. And yet it provides a way for you to do some interactive things with it. And it also builds out some quiz questions, which I don't find extremely helpful. It does provide a transcript of the video, so it creates a transcript. So if you, this tool can be used to create transcripts of videos that you don't have a transcript for. It has a glossary section. So that's the keywords that were developed out of it scrubbing the YouTube video, a summary of the video, and then it has some flashcards, concept cards. So this tool has some really good, interesting things, but it's not a perfect tool. It's not going to replace some things that you do. But I find the most interesting thing is it's an easy way to add key terms and knowledge checks on a video that you don't own. So that's knowledge. And one of the other products that you see on this list is with research. So Chat PDF, you can drop a PDF into Chat PDF and it will help synthesize the article for you. But Consensus is a little different because it makes the search process for academic research a little bit more, little less challenging. So let's, for example, put in the consensus question, what are the limits of artificial intelligence? And what it will do is it'll pull up in its search all of the articles that are most relevant that are found in academic journals. So this is a good way for you to do some searching for research. And then when you click on a particular article, it'll give the opportunity to potentially get the full text and cite it. But you can also synthesize. And there's different things you can do to do a better search. So the interesting thing about this tool is it helps, it does a better job at taking information that you need to find the research through asking it questions as opposed to keywords in a library, for example. So these are just a few of the tools that are available to you. There's tons and tons more. You have to be careful with some tools because some of them will want to access lots of your data and lots of your information. So one example would be a recent tool that provides notes for meetings. It will attach itself to every one of your meeting in the future, and it will record if you're in Zoom. It can be quite extensive in terms of its privacy concerns. So those are some things to consider. Hopefully you found just this presentation interesting in terms of how you can leverage ChatGPT and AI tools to help you with the work that you do as a faculty member. There were a number of questions in our session. I can't answer them all here, but if you would like to talk to me or Lynn about AI and how you can leverage it in a ethical and a productive way in your work, let us know, and we will be happy to help. You can always set up a consult with us, and we look forward to working with you and as we journey on this exploration of what AI will be to the future of education.